I guess Palsteron here. And today let's talk about my day 1 update for my Toxic Rain Ballista Pathfinder. So day 1 for me went incredibly clean, super easy, as expected. We tested on the champion, but there was a few things on Pathfinder that we had to find out first before we knew. Some people had problems activating their life flask. So the gist is Master Surgeon is as broken as I thought it would be, but there's a small caveat to this. You cannot activate your life flask while you're on full life. However, you actually can. The only thing you need is a certain suffix. For example, right now I have a life flask on that has no mods, right? I'm trying to press it, I cannot because I'm on full life. Trying to press it, doesn't let me activate it, which is really bad because this way that would mean that you could only, whenever you get hit, you can activate it and then you get the duration, but it's not always up, right? And that's super annoying. You don't always want to look and stuff like that. You can just automate this real easily, but what you need is a mod like this. For example, grants immunity for bleeding for 11 seconds. Something that adds sort of like a duration tag to the life flask. And that's something I think nobody really understood, or at least I didn't before. So what you can do now is, now I can press it, right? And now it's here. So even if I'm on full life, I can still activate the life region. And once I take damage, it literally goes back up immediately. However, even if you don't have that, a lot of people have ignored that I put Blood Rage into my POB. I didn't explicitly talk about it in the build, but it is in the POB, right? So if you have Blood Rage on and you have Petrified Blood on, you're always going to trickle down because you can't regen life over half-life, right? So you have Blood Rage on, all right? After the ES is down, you're basically always going to have this. So you can always activate the life flask, right? It's always going to be up. So after life flask is over, you're trickling down again. Pretty much easy. And on that note, it's important that you get a good life flask. So what does a good life flask look like? Basically, like I had in my POB, right? You have the suffix that could be bleeding, hinder, shock. It doesn't matter, just so you can activate it, right? And in the prefix, you want amount recovered and reduced recovery rate. My flask right now is really bad, actually. I only have a tier 4. But right now, I'm in yellow maps. I don't really care. So what you have to understand is that in order to roll the tier 1 mod, you need eye level 81. So if you want to roll, right, you might as well buy an 81. It costs like 2 chaos right now. And it should really be a divine life flask, right? So what else? So there is another thing where you can actually deterministically farm a Quill Rain. Now, as of this recording, current is like 7 to 8 chaos, right? If you want a better roll, maybe like 10 chaos. There is a way to cheese that. Personally, I wouldn't do this. I tried it like 10 times or something, but I have people in my chat who got it on like the 3rd or 4th try. I would only do this if I was on Soul Saffron or if you're really desperate for a Quill Rain. We personally didn't have a Quill Rain until we finished campaign, so I just want to say that it really doesn't matter, but for endgame, it is very nice to have. But what you can do with the Lee mechanic is, so first up, what you want is short bows, right? So what you do is you go into options, game, and you disable your filter. Whoops. You disable your filter, right? And then what you do is you hunt for short bows, and you want any short bows that are possible, right? The ledge is really, really good for this. Now, first up, you want to see these small totems right here, right? This direction is where you get to Kuduku, which is the boss, right? Which drops a lot of items just in general, right? Glass Shank. You're looking for any short bow right here that you can then use on the League mechanic. Basically, you're just going to do this through. On average, per this run, you're going to get round about 1 short bow. Let's see if we actually hit one. I'm going to go all the way. Scale Vest. Not crude bow. It has to be exactly a short bow. No other bows, right? Did we get one? Doesn't seem like it. All right. You can do this a few times, right? And you can get short bows. What you can also do is you can remake a character and then... Oh, there is a short bow. You can also remake a character and then once you're in town and you killed Hillock, you can check out the vendor and it's probably also going to have a few short bows. All right, I found us a League mechanic real quick so I can show you this. This is pretty random, right? I think the chance is round about 1 in 10. It could be even worse. So what you can get here is one of the nodes that you get on a short bow could be sells for a unique short bow. And the only unique short bow in that case is Quill Rain. So if we do that, for example, this is the short bow that we have in our inventory. And now you charge it, right? We're going to see, maybe we get lucky. Who knows, right? Now we have it charged enough, so you just see the tree, right? That's all you want for now. You just want to see the tree. And if it's on that tree, then you farm it and then you can sell it. Let's see. In this case, we didn't get it, yeah. But there is a chance to get this, and a lot of people, that is the way they got their Quill Rain. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I personally didn't get it, but if you get lucky, especially on Solo Saffron, I think that might be the best way to farm a Quill Rain. On trade, honestly, just doing Heist and Chaos Recipe has to be better. All right, then when to spec into totems. So there is a really cool quiver that helps out a lot while leveling. So during leveling, you're obviously not going to have a Wilma's, right? It costs, as of this recording, like 1 to 1.5 divines. So what you do to spec fully into totems, and when you can fully spec into totems, after you have both totem clusters, right? You have watchtowers, and you got this whole cluster. Afterwards, you're going to be very much spec'd into totems, but you're not just all in, right? So for 1 chaos, there's a lot of them. You can buy a skirmish, and then you can basically make up for that 6 totem. This is where I would personally go into Ensnaring Arrow, and then basically just do all your damage with your totems. Some people had mana problems. In my POB, there is life tap support. Just so you know, this converts mana cost to life cost, so you have nothing to think about in terms of mana. If you don't want to do that and you want to do some stuff like mana forged arrows, which a lot of people have talked about, which we could do later, but right now it's just too painful to cap mana elsewhere. You can also run a mana flask if you really want to. But otherwise, until we get into end game and we get minus mana cost on jewelry, there's really nothing wrong with just running life tap. All right, so we talked about all of this. I guess a 6-link corrupted is also nice to talk about. Since I already planned out my build and I knew exactly the colors that I want, which is 3 green, 2 red, 1 blue, which is the colors from most Toxic Ballista builds, I would argue. I just bought a corrupted 6-link, right? It had a little bit of stats. It's better than a tabby. It's not as flexible, especially if you want to level again or something. You don't have a tabby just lying there. Then also an important one that I had in my notes that a lot of people didn't get is this Blood Grip, which costs, I think, 1 chaos, if I remember correctly. Let me check if that's true. Now it's like 2 to 3 chaos. Okay, I guess the jig is up. But Blood Grip is an incredibly strong amulet that gives you life. Moving while bleeding doesn't cost you to take extra damage, but the most important one is 100% increased life recovery from flasks. Now, that is very potent until you have all your life recovery stuff, right? Like these notes right here. I don't want to be pressured to take them early, so for now, I'm not opting for a damage amulet. I'm opting for this to make, I don't know, my time easier until I get more levels. Right now, I'm level 82. So definitely check that out. And later you can then go into more damage. Very important as well. Now, most people were happy with their defensiveness, but the few people who weren't, what was seen is they are not running their flasks. They're still on campaign flasks. You can get a Jade Flask from a quest reward. You can get a Granite Flask from a quest reward. Put on some transmutations to get some mods on it, right? You want to get your Silver Flask, right? But Jade and Granite are going to be incredibly important because until you get Taste of Hate, otherwise you have no physical damage reduction. As you can see, I myself still don't have a Lightning Coil because I would have to 6-link it with Tainted Fusings. And yeah, I still have to get the money to do that. And the same is true for Granite. So for now, you're kind of filling in with a little bit of armor. And also Int. A lot of people asked about Int. Pretty easy. Primal Spirit right here gives 20 Int. This 30 Int node right here is there. Once you path into the Shadow region, you get 10 Int here, 10 Int there. And until then, you can also get it on a ring. I didn't need it myself. The highest intelligence you need is actually Wilma's Requital, which needs 122. Before that, at some point, if you're running Flame Dash, which I'm currently not, I'm running Blink Arrow, then just don't level it that far. Pretty sure everything else in the build needs a maximum of 110 intelligence. Also, I got asked a lot what my aura setup is. As of right now, I have Malevolence and I have Petrified Blood. That's all I have. As you can see right here, I didn't take Charisma yet. I didn't take my small cluster yet, so I can't fit in Haste. Haste is only really good once you get a Wilma's anyways, and a lot of people won't have their Wilma's yet, right? So Haste is not that big of a deal. However, grabbing a Val Haste is definitely something that I'm going to do soon, because for that, you don't need any reservation. I guess I also got asked when I put on my Petrified Blood. I put on my Petrified Blood once I did Merciless Lab. Once you have a Master Surgeon, basically, the third node here, and once you have a good Life Flask. You also want either Blood Bond or these 3 nodes right here for the extra Life Flask recovery, and then you're basically going to feel immortal. Also, small tech right now is actually the Spell Suppression Master here. Chance to suppress spell damage is lucky. We're currently at 40% chance to suppress. Lucky basically means it rolls twice, whether you actually suppress spell damage or not, so that kind of counts as like 30% extra. Endgame, you want to respec it because it gets worse the more spell suppression chance you have. But for now, it can help out a lot. Something else that's really important is actually get a good flask belt, right? So I think I'm actually overcapped on strength a little bit. Yeah, you don't need that much. You definitely want your Immortal Call set up, right? Like it's in the POB. Immortal Call on maximum level 3. Cast on damage taken, leave it on level 1. Increase duration support, life tap support. Super good defensively. But you also want to get a flask mod, right? You want to either get high flask charges gained or high flask effect duration. Flask charges gained is a little bit better, though. Without this mod, you'll have trouble sustaining your utility flasks, right? Your life flask is probably still going to be fine, but your utility flask we'll have a problem. Now, when do you actually automate them, right? So as you saw in the POB, what I'm using is reused at the end of this flask's effect. And I'm starting to use that once I actually have good flasks. So for example, this one is trash, right? It has no good suffix, and the prefix that gives you better uptime with increased duration or reduced flash charges is very, very low. So right now, if I automated it, it would probably be fine while mapping, but against bosses, it would run out, right? So I want to first get that. I also want to get the glass blowers bubbles on it, right? Don't forget that. You definitely want it on your life flask because that's going to give you extra life recovery. If you're crafting your own, put the glass blowers bubbles on while the flask is still white. Then you only need 4 to get it to 20 quality. And all the other ones you want to get over time as well. If you craft them yourselves, always apply them before you craft. Then you only need 4 instead of 10. Okay, so yeah, we're still waiting. I don't have the currency right now. We just dropped the divine, so that's pretty cool. Maybe I'm going to redo my flasks. We'll see what I do next. I just wanted to push this update out right now. I've been having a ton of fun right now. We're on the Atlas. So what we did is basically just as normal. We almost finished the shrine nodes, and then we're going to go into expedition. I'm level 82 right now, and on the Atlas, I'm basically roundabout in between yellows, and then I'm going to be pushing reds. Also, in case you haven't seen it yet, my max roll guide is up for the last 2 or 3 days already. Now, when it comes to written guides, you can put a lot more information into a written guide than you ever can into a video. It's just completely impossible, right? So there's going to be a lot of information on these 6 pages that I just cannot fit into a normal video, right? Everything's exactly described. So a lot of people are asking me in terms of gear progression, what should I buy next, right? And you can see right here that I have a complete milestone section here where I basically go over early game, mid game, and end game, and it tells you exactly, right? Milestone 1, milestone 2, 3, 4. So if you're interested into something like that, more of like a hand-holdy approach, then definitely check that out. I'll link it down in the description. It's also linked on my main build guide. As for the league mechanic, I haven't engaged much with it. The little bit that I have engaged with it, it was very disappointing, but that doesn't mean anything. I'll obviously engage with it more. I think it's more of an end game kind of thing. I didn't have too much luck with it early. But yeah, hope you had a good league start with this. I'm definitely going to keep you up to date tomorrow, next build update. And yeah, this is still another slogan. See you next time.